everyone, welcome to Scholars. Today we are going to discuss about class 9's ICSE board's geography, and the topic is rocks and minerals. Before starting the topic, I need to say one thing, that we are attaching Google Forms, okay, in our descriptions, where you can ask us questions, or you can tell us what kind of information or what kind of topics you want us to cover. And there is also questions about the videos after the video, from which you can solve it. Okay, so now let's start the topic. What is a rock? A rock is a naturally occurring solid mass or aggregate of minerals that make up the Earth's crust. Basically, all the soils, the different kinds of soils that we get, is basically broken down or weighed down rock particles. Okay, some rocks may be composed of only one mineral, and others may be composed of different minerals. And the Earth's crust is made up of various types of rocks that differ from one another in texture, structure, color, permeability, mode of occurrence, degree of resistance to denudation. Denudation means weathering down of rocks. Now, as we have said, rocks are made up of minerals. Now, what are minerals? Now, a mineral is a naturally occurring inorganic element having an orderly internal structure and characteristic chemical composition, crystalline form, and physical properties. For example, quartz, feldspar, mica, calcite. These are the examples of minerals, and there are few very abundant minerals present on the Earth's crust. They are silicon, aluminium, iron, magnesium, calcium, potassium, and sodium. Now, from this we can understand that minerals basically compose of rocks. We have minerals of different amount, different quantity. They together, like 2 or 3 different kinds of minerals combined together, form a particular rock. Okay. Now, what is the difference between rocks and minerals? Now, rocks are aggregates of minerals, but minerals are solid inorganic substances that occur naturally. Both occur naturally, but rocks are basically aggregation of minerals. The second point, no definite composition. Rocks do not have a definite composition, but minerals, as I have said earlier in its definition, they have specific structure, specific chemical formula. Okay, and minerals are organized to form rocks, whereas elements are organized to form compounds. Those compounds in turn from the minerals. Now, that for rocks, there are 3 types of rocks. Those are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Whereas there are 4 chief types of minerals. They are silicates, carbonates, sulfides, and metallic minerals. Okay, and at last we can give, when a question comes about the difference between minerals and rocks, at last point we can give few examples of minerals and rocks. Like for example, name of the few rocks are quartz, basalt, granite, sandstone. These are few important kinds of rocks. And for minerals, some examples are iron, silicon, manganese, nickel, calcium, sodium, potassium. These are all abundant minerals on the earth. Now, we have read what is a rock, what are minerals, and the difference between rocks and minerals. Now, we are studying the classification of rocks. And basically, we can classify a rock into igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks. For igneous, these are the primary kinds of rocks, whereas the other 2 are secondary. Like the secondary rocks are formed by some kind of modification of the igneous rocks, or formed some differently than how igneous rocks are formed. Okay, now igneous rocks can be classified into intrusive igneous rocks and extrusive igneous rocks, of which granite is a big example of intrusive igneous rocks, and basalt is an example of extrusive igneous rocks. Now, for sedimentary, basically sedimentary rocks are those that have layers. You can see layers of sediments that together that get compressed and form a rock. And sedimentary rocks can be classified into mechanically formed rocks, for example sandstone, organic rocks like coal. Coal is is not particularly a rock, but actually it is an organic substance. Okay, the trees, large trees that get petrified and form rocks, form coals. Those are organic sedimentary rocks. And chemically formed rocks for example is gypsum. Gypsum is an example of chemically formed rocks. And for metamorphic rocks, which marble and slates, metamorphic rocks are basically, they are morphed or they are changed due to some physical properties, and they ultimately form the kinds of marbles and slate stones that we use in our houses for decoration, or for like the floors of our houses are made up of marbles and slates. Okay, this basically is today's class. And the important parts from here are what is a rock, what are minerals. The most important part is difference between rocks and minerals, that I have seen coming in exams very often, and also the classification of rocks. In our next video, we will discuss the different types of rocks, and basically we will discuss about the igneous rocks. Okay, so that's all for today. And again, before ending today's video, I want to say that we are providing Google Forms in our description, where we will be adding places where you can ask us questions, and we shall also be providing questions and MCQs that you can solve after seeing our videos. Okay, thank you. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and also check out our page on Facebook and Instagram, and keep supporting. Thank you.